Wyatt Watson, Tony Donohue, Chris DeHarde with you. We have wrapped up the doubleheader weekend, a very hot weekend here from the Iowa Speedway. Big shout out to Hy-Vee first and foremost. What a weekend they put on with some awesome concerts. But first and foremost, guys, Chris, I will start with you. The biggest thing of the weekend, and it was a question mark coming in, we knew it was going to be, was the racing product that we saw on track. Wasn't the best, to put it bluntly. Could have been a lot better. We're thinking of Stingray Rob after that last lap accident in race number 2 earlier today. But Chris, let's start with you. Just a lot of a parade the last couple of days. Pit stops is what changed leads both last night and today. Your thoughts on kind of what we see, which is one group racetrack here at Iowa?
Well, the last time I saw an oval race like this, it was Richmond 2009, which, if my memory is correct, Scott Dixon actually apologized on television for what happened in the race and how much of a parade that was. It was very similar. I posted on Twitter after the race, after the first race of the weekend, that there were like 100 passes for position and 192 passes overall. In the first race of last year's doubleheader was like 1,500 passes with about, 300 or so for position. So passes were way down. The hybrid system added an extra 100 pounds of weight to the cars. The Firestone tires had almost no degradation on them throughout the entire race. We can almost say it was like a recipe for disaster because there were a lot of different factors that played into this. And really, nobody benefited from this, except for Team Penske because they won both races. But it just wasn't that great for the spectators here. I hate to say it, but the fact of the matter is that there was very little passing, and it was a one-group racetrack. Oh, and the repavement, the partial repaving job of the track did not do anything at all to help the racing here at the track for the IndyCar series.
I talked to Ed Carpenter. He mentioned this is a very expensive weekend, and we thought maybe the hybrid would maybe change some things. We really didn't see much of the hybrid at all this weekend. Ed's comments that we had on Frontstretch here were pretty good. I also talked to Renus VK. You can check that out, Frontstretch Open Wheel on YouTube. And I said, look, can we make this a one race 400 lap race? He said, well, we have to have tire degradation. It's almost like Firestone brought too good of a tire, I guess. The fuel didn't burn off, and you couldn't, even the front of the field, if you were leading, you couldn't get to the back of the field to even pass. I mean, they caught Pietro Fittipaldi, and then McLaughlin continued to back up from him wide. I know you talked to a lot of drivers this weekend. What were some of the sentiments, especially after the race, on what this race can do moving forward? Because, when that pavement wears off over the next couple of years and you have more racing series on it, yes, you'll get better racing, but what was the sentiment of a lot of the drivers you talked to?
I also talked to SBK after the race, and he said just flat out repave the whole track.
Yeah.
Either that, or just like try to find a way to make that second group work. I don't know how. I know Hello is just very disappointed and has no idea what to do. Personally, you gotta probably repave the track.
But NASCAR's not going to let that happen.
Absolutely not. NASCAR obviously owns Iowa Speedway, but also, Will Power had fantasy ideas of just, hey, let's just have a time machine and warp this track 5 years from now, and then we'll finally have a racing product.
And it's super hot here this weekend. I feel for a lot of the teams. Hunkos Hollinger Racing didn't leave the track until 2 a.m. after both of their cars were wrecked on lap 1. In race number 1 last night, they got him back to the track. Jack Harvey tried to gut it out. Man, he is tough as nails, but he removed himself from the race car. Connor Daly got in, had some fun on that first start and the restart. If you would like to hear Connor's comments, again, check that out, Frontstretch Open Wheel. We've gotten this far. We're about 4 minutes in. Will Power gets the victory today. Scott McLaughlin gets the victory last night. Let's go back to last night, Chris. Scott McLaughlin picking up his first career oval win. He is now what he said, quote, a complete IndyCar driver.
Yeah, he finished second at Texas a couple years ago, and he said in the post-race press conference that actually hurt him quite a bit, and that ate him up a lot inside because he was leading a lot of that race. He got passed coming off of the final corner of the final lap of the race by Joseph Newgarden, who Joseph finished third yesterday. The master of Iowa Speedway never led a whole lap this weekend. Granted, the crowd was kind of part and parcel of that, but he went from 22nd to third. Scott McLaughlin did a fantastic job this weekend, and really, pardon me for the cough there. He did a great job. He took the lead from Colton Herta at the first set of pit stops and never looked back. He maintained his form on ovals. He didn't lose his concentration. Alex Palou in the first race had a spin. Spun on his own coming out of turn 4, pancaked the right side of the car against the wall. Just overall, really puzzling why Palou had that happen to him, but not much you can really say about race 1 except that McLaughlin just did the job, and Colton Herta, that's the last thing I want to bring up. Colton Herta led the first 80-something laps of the race, lost the lead on the first round of pit stops, had a half spin during the later portion of the race, and then just he fell, I think, to 11th place. But I want to bring up also Marcus Armstrong from the first race. He had a black flag for a red light that was flashing on the back of his car that usually does that underneath the yellow flag. Yep. The team said that it was an IndyCar telemetry issue. Once the caution came out for Colton Herta to spin, Marcus's black flag actually got rescinded. So that was a really weird situation that happened.
Don't see that often.
No, do not.
So last night, a little bit of carnage, so we did have some accidents at Carpenter. Pietro Fittipaldi had crashed. Wyatt, I know you spent some time with Will Power most of the weekend. He wins race number 2, and look, what he started, did he start 22nd? So Joseph finishes on the podium last night, they're finishing 22nd. And again, a lot of that is through cycling of pit stops, but Will Power, gets into the pits. Yellow comes out, really was the benefactor. It was a clean race for the most part. We did see Oxy Canapino spin under the green flag condition coming out of the pits. They waited, then through the yellow. It was about 20-25 seconds. But Wyatt, you spent a lot of time, as mentioned, with Will Power. Your thoughts on Will getting his second victory so far this season?
What a recovery for Will Power. There was actually a pit lane speeding penalty yesterday that tanked his race. I talked to him after that race. He was just frustrated and just knew that could have been an opportunity to catch him further on Will after his spin and wreck. So I thought it was ironic that they finished 1-2, and now it's a 35-point gap between Power and Palou. But he feels like it's a kind of a career resurgence for Will Power. He's back to his 2022 form. He said that during his press conference, and I mean I haven't seen Will Power this happy in years.
Yeah, it really came off of Road America, right? I mean, obviously last year and the personal issues that was going on with his family, and then breaks through for finally that win after a frustrating Indianapolis 500. Will Power wins at Road America, comes back here, gets back in the victory circle on an oval. Penske sweeps the Ivy IndyCar weekend here. Plenty of interviews on Frontstretch Open Wheel here from Renus VK. 2 top 10s this weekend. His first top 5 in IndyCar competition since here in 2022. Santino Ferrucci put on an exciting show for a lot of the fans last night. Interviews with him as well. Catherine Legge after her run last night. We have you covered here on Frontstretch Open Wheel. Chris, before we wrap this bad boy up, your overall thoughts on this 2-race weekend?
The crowd before the race didn't look that big. I mean, granted, it was very, very hot, and it was also starting pretty early. As much as I like the idea of a doubleheader, I'm not opposed to going to one race, 400 laps on Saturday night, because quite frankly, like racing in the middle of the heat of the day like this, I just don't like it like this.
Are we gonna go see Post Malone, or are we gonna go in there and get cool?
I got to start driving back to Indianapolis. Which I would love to see Post Malone, but I got to start driving back to Indianapolis. I'm going to try and get back as far as I can before I call it quits. But, hey, as we saw Stingray later on after the race, he gave a thumbs up as he was going into the ambulance to go to the care center. He gave, gave a thumbs up. Rossi, Kirkwood, Carpenter, they're all fine after the accident. Just a shame that there was one at the very end of the race, but the aero screen proved to save everybody from serious injury, and we'll pass along updates as AJ Foyt Racing and IndyCar unveils them for Stingray.
Yeah, Toronto next week, so we will have some question marks as far as what Dale Coyne Racing does. Will Jack Harvey be ready to go? The 51 car, it'll probably be Luca Giotto. He's got one race left on his deal. It'll be either next week or Portland. We'll see if Stingray Robb or what his condition lies in that 41 wide. I know you're running around talking to a lot of drivers. Your overall thoughts on what we saw this weekend?
First of all, again, prayers to Stingray Robb for his condition. Prayers for Jack Harvey to get a little bit better. Just not there. Good on Connor Daly to be there today in race 2. But my overall thoughts, it's just flat out unacceptable. Like we've seen really good racing product for years and years and years here at Iowa. I was looking forward to seeing the race. It's a sad thing to say that the best thing I saw this weekend was Luke Combs' concert and possibly a Post Malone here in a couple hours.
And look, IndyCar is kind of in a box here, right? Look, this is a track that they've been running at since 2007. This is a track that has shown us some awesome racing throughout the years. There's only so much that they can do. You know, they did test here. You're just kind of in a box. Obviously, NASCAR is probably Iowa's biggest moneymaker, as we know, and they got their Cup race here a couple weeks back. And the product for IndyCar is so good, but you have to be able to pass. It's unfortunate. And really, overall, I mean, on ovals, it's been kind of hard to pass since this aero screen has kind of came into fruition since 2020. But yeah, as you mentioned, it was frustrating to see because we just remember how awesome this was IndyCar-wise in the past. We still love Iowa. This is a badass track. The shortest, or the fastest short track on the planet is what they carve themselves around. So hopefully in the future, when this asphalt kind of degrades a little bit over the next couple of years, we will see better racing. Obviously, the schedule's out for the 2025 IndyCar season, and we'll be right back here for the Hy-Vee IndyCar weekend. Don't know the bands yet. But yeah, let's go see Post Malone. Everybody get home safe. Don't forget to like and subscribe here on Frontstretch, Open Wheel, and Frontstretch as well. Follow us on our social media channels, and we'll see you next week from Toronto.
Take it easy.
Steven Stump of Frontstretch.com here. Come back for more great racing videos, and if you like us, don't forget to hit that subscribe button.